Yeah, I got where the fuck you at? Yo, it's Dr. Balls, can you feel that sound? In the house, got the party going round. Where you at? Better step on the scene. We drop it round sharp like a damn machine. Dr. Balls in the lab, mixing beats like a clown. Got the bass thumping hard, let the whole world know. Stethoscope on the track, I'm checking every flow. Got that baller vibe, take your worries, let them go. It's Dr. Balls, can you feel that sound? In the house, got the party going down. Where you at? Better step on the scene. We drop the rhyme sharp like a motherfucking scream. On the mic, I'm the remedy, no need for a doubt. You're feeling low? Let me show you where we at, get the vibe. I'm the one you can trust. When Dr. Balls drops, you can't help but thrust. Yes, Dr. Balls, can you hear that sound? In the house, got the party going down. Where you at? Better step on the scene. We drop it rhyme sharp like a damn machine. Dr. Balls, can you hear that sound? In the house, got the party going down. Where you at? Better step on the scene. We drop it rhyme sharp like a damn machine. Yo, it's Dr. Balls, can you feel that sound? In the house, got the party going round. Where you at? Better step on the scene. We drop it rhyme sharp like a damn machine. Dr. Balls in the lab, mixing beats like a clown. Got the bass thumping hard, let the whole world know. Stethoscope on the track, I'm checking every flow. Got that baller vibe, take your worries, let them go. On the mic, I'm the remedy, no need for a doubt. You're feeling low? Let me show you where we at, get the vibe. I'm the one you can trust. When Dr. Balls drops, you can't help but thrust. On the mic, I'm the remedy, no need for a doubt. You need for a doubt, you need for a doubt. You're feeling low? Let me show you where we at, where we at, where we at, where we at. Yo, it's Dr. Balls, can you feel that sound? In the house, got the party going round. Where you at? Better step on the scene. We drop it rhyme sharp like a damn machine. It's Dr. Balls, can you feel that sound? In the house, got the party going down. Where you at? Better step on the scene. We drop it rhyme sharp like a damn machine. On the mic, I'm the remedy, no need for a doubt. You're feeling low? Let me show you where we at, get the vibe. I'm the one you can trust. When Dr. Balls drops, you can't help but thrust. On the mic, I'm the remedy, no need for a doubt. You're feeling low? Let me show you where we at, get the vibe. I'm the one you can trust. When Dr. Balls drops, you can't help but thrust. Dr. Balls. Dr. Balls. Dr. Balls in the house. Where the fuck you at?
Dr. Balls is a presentation of Smacking Off the Podcast.
Dr. Balls in the house. What's going on? The doctor knows who's going down. Dr. Balls will know.
All right, guys, everybody, welcome back to Smacking Off the Podcast.
What's going on?
What's going on? All the fun and excitement we ever wanted, Doug.
This is going to be a lonely show with just us assholes telling you about some college hoops, right?
Yeah, but we want all the cast on, and I think that's when it's the best. But unfortunately, we're busy, so this gives us a chance to give our soliloquy about why you should watch college basketball.
True. Before we do that, there's not going to be much to mention here, but I've got this graphic up. This is the 3 bowl games that are coming up before we have another show. So if these deserve coverage here, we've got the Frisco Bowl, which that's Frisco, Texas, by the way. Didn't even know there was such a place. Memphis versus West Virginia. Memphis ranked in the top 25 at 25, and West Virginia nowhere to be seen. Don't know much about this one. I'll probably watch it because there won't be a lot going on that night.
Yeah, well, we love college football. Well, we can get it. West Virginia's on the up. I know. Is Rodriguez going to coach his first game?
You know, I don't know. I need to look that up, but I really haven't heard whether Rich Rod will be coaching this game. I know that he is the new head coach there.
The Frisco Bowl, I don't know if I've ever heard of that. Is that something new, or is this one of the ones they renamed?
It's been around for a few years. Your first thought would be that this is San Francisco, but it's actually Frisco, Texas, at Toyota Stadium there in Frisco, Texas.
Toyota Stadium, hallelujah. So they, well, if you ask me, I mean, it'll probably go chalk. Memphis has been fairly strong this year. They got a top 25 ranking, and West Virginia has held their own in the Big 12, but they weren't even in the mention for a college football playoff. So I'm thinking Memphis is probably going to crush them, Doug.
Yeah, I could see Memphis taking it to them. Wednesday, December 18th. By the way, that one was Tuesday, December 17th. That's a couple days from now. Wednesday, the 18th, we've got the Boca Raton Bowl. Me and Bob have both probably been through Boca Raton. Most of the listeners have probably never been there.
Oh yeah, I've been there a bunch. There's a phone office I've worked in a bunch there called Golden Gables, and everything looks real pretty in that neighborhood. But at night, when you're working, you go out to smoke a cigarette. There's a lot of people that speak some version of French Creole that are don't like you, right?
All right, so how about James Madison versus Western Kentucky, Bob? I know you got to know something about Western Kentucky.
Yeah, well, Western Kentucky has looked good this year, and they contended for their conference championship in a big way and gave UK a decent game. But Jay Madison's been a strong program here for a couple of years, and even though they lost their coach, they've reloaded. And I think that I would normally pick Jay Madison in this game, except for the fact that because of the transfer portal and things of that nature, we don't even know who really is going to show up on the rosters. It's hard to keep track of without a scorecard.
Yep, James Madison, a great president as well, right?
Oh yeah, James Madison was a great president. Had a great wife, dog.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that era. I was too young, but. Oh, let's see. The LA Bowl, UNLV versus Cal. UNLV is heavy favorites in this game. But
Cal has played so well this year, even though they've lost games.
I couldn't. I was doing the pick'ems, and I couldn't pick UNLV here. I feel like Cal is going to win this game.
Oh man, I tried to log into the pick'ems several times through my iPad, and it just didn't work. I just gonna have to do it on my phone. I've missed the whole season of it. It just won't take me to the group. It's driving me crazy. So I'm going to pick Cal in this game too, Doug, because I believe that Cal has been impressive to me even in losses, and they're a true Power 5 team. And UNLV, even though they've had a great season, they're just sniffing that level right now.
And they slapped Auburn around, so yeah, they're good enough for me. I'd say Cal by at least a touchdown.
There you go. I'm with you.
All right, the New Orleans Bowl. And Sam Houston. Sam Houston. Have you ever once in your life, just admit it, Bob, have you ever once in your life watched Sam Houston play a football game on TV?
No, I've seen a basketball game for them because they played it as the early season cup game for UK here probably 10 years ago or so.
I'm with you, Bob. I've never seen them. I know they're a school. I know they're a thing. I didn't know they really had the football thing going on. Definitely didn't know they were eligible for these FBS bowls, but apparently they've moved up in rank a little bit on the football field.
Well, hell, evidently they're like Bellarmine, that they've moved up in the world to where now they can have a ball game. Now, for a lot of teams, the ball games aren't as important as others, but for a program like that that's trying to do better, it might be a big deal. Now, Georgia Southern, on the other hand, is not a stranger to these games, and they've even played in AA championships in the past and stuff like that. Georgia Southern's had a great tradition as a historically black college, and so I'm going to pick him. I'm going to say that Georgia Southern crushes them utterly. And by the way, when I was in Charleston, South Carolina earlier this year, I went by one of their games, and it was a big deal. There were a lot of people out there having fun. It's right beside the road on near Summerville, South Carolina, and Georgia Southern was playing. What team was that? Whatever team's there in Charleston, and Charleston Southern. So Georgia Southern and Charleston Southern were playing, and Georgia Southern was well represented on the tailgate. It was so big you could see it from the road. So good luck to them guys. So I'm going to root for Georgia Southern, and I got them winning 28-17.
Yeah, give me Georgia Southern. Give me Georgia Southern by 10 points at least.
There you go. Big tradition.
All right, college basketball. And there was a big game. As an Alabama fan, I really enjoyed seeing Alabama beat Creighton last night. I know that Sean probably didn't enjoy it. The last time I watched Alabama and Creighton play, Creighton won. So, I just watched with caution. Didn't really know how this was going to go, and I was excited to see Alabama beat Creighton because I know Creighton is a big name in college basketball. Were they ranked?
No, they're not. I don't think they were ranked at that time, but Creighton is very good. They're an outstanding team, good outstanding coach. Unfortunately, they got a guy hurt right now. It's kind of hurting them. One of their main playmakers, but they've got Kalkbrenner. I see hope for the future, but man, they didn't have no answer for Corey Sears at Alabama. Alabama's point guard was eating them alive. How did you feel about that, Doug? Watching that?
It was the thing to behold. I didn't know how good Creighton was this year. I know that they're traditionally a very good basketball school, and like
they're still good.
The only other time I've ever seen Alabama play Creighton, we lost. So I was happy.
That was a tough game. I think it was 2 years ago, the year we expected Alabama to win it. And but Alabama looked great in that game, man. And they, I can't believe. I mean, Sears may be the best player in the country. I know they're talking about Cooper Flagg and other guys, but if you ask me, he's probably the best player in the country right now. The fact that he's still there and not in the NBA or something, and I really like him as a player. And who's that wing guy for Alabama that's like 6'10"? Nelson. Anyway, he's really interesting.
You probably know the Bama players' names better than me. The first time I ever watched Alabama was last night, just a little bit. I didn't even watch the whole game. I did see the end. But
well, they're definitely a dominant team in this country, right? And defensively, they're a powerhouse defensive team. They work hard for all the loose balls. They create lots of deflections and turnovers, and they're able to turn them into points quickly. And then they've got the philosophy of Coach Oates of scoring quickly, so things can get ugly real quick if you're not good against Alabama. And
did you catch the Connecticut and Gonzaga game?
Actually, I did watch part of that and found it pretty enjoyable. Gonzaga and Kentucky had just played, so I was interested to see what would happen. But UConn, I think, hustled them, was more physical. Gonzaga had great players, and they've returned a couple great players, but UConn is better coached, in my opinion, than maybe anybody, except for when he fucked up earlier in the season. Now, did you hear what happened when they lost to West Virginia in Maui, Doug?
No, tell me about it.
He threw a big fit out on the court and was involved in pushing and shoving and stuff like that after the game, and had to be restrained. And a lot of people felt it was bad sportsmanship, that he should have sucked that up. But I'm glad they recovered, because UConn is one of the teams that I've got picked that couldn't win it all. And Gonzaga, even though I feel they'll contend for it all somehow, and I don't know if they're Final Four team, even though they're predicted to be, but I think they're an Elite Eight team. I don't think we should dismiss them. But if you looked at their game against Kentucky, they had us down big, and we ended up, even with players missing, we ended up taking the overtime and winning the game in a great game in a modern class.
How you liking your new coach, Bob?
Oh, he's the shit. He's exactly what we want, right? I mean, Cal and all his antics and the limited vision for how to run a basketball team offensively, and the on and off defense, the mistakes, all that's over. Now, the only thing that matters at UK is whether we hit or not. Coach Pope is playing the style of Rick Pitino in the mid-'90s with some modern wrinkles. Hell, they want to take 33s a game, and even shorthanded. We did lose a game when we were shorthanded to Clemson, but it was close at Clemson. And then we come back after that and beat Gonzaga and Louisville. And I just feel that Kentucky's the most explosive and the most entertaining scoring team in America. And Coach Pope has brought a style to UK that fans really enjoy. And he's young by these kinds of coaches' standard. I believe he's going to be here a long time, Doug, and they're going to hang some banners.
Did you feel excited to see your Wildcats lay one on Louisville yesterday? I know that you had to have a little bit of anger towards this Louisville program for what happened on the football field. Did it make you feel any better, Bob?
It made me feel a whole lot better, even though we can't do nothing about that. But we had a late run in football, crushing Louisville, and this year Kentucky just plain wasn't good, so they won that game. But we won the game the other day. It was a big game for everybody that loves college basketball and everybody that hates Louisville. So we beat them yet again, and fuck them, right? That's what I got to say. And I'm going to stand that. And now Louisville, their new coach is Saul Guy, and they have some good players on the team. I was impressed by a couple of their guys, but they just didn't have enough for UK. Even with us shorthanded, our backup point guard, even though our main point guard, Crystal, was our backup point guard, and then our main point guard returned in time to have 30 points in the game, and then we crushed Louisville. We're the better team. They made some good runs in the game. My hat's off to them, but they're done. And we finished them off. Fuck Louisville.
So I've heard that we've. Who's the number? We don't have to talk about the number one team this week, do we?
You talking about Tennessee, who just barely beat Illinois, but to their credit, it was at Illinois. Now, Tennessee's been around. Some of their players have been around like 5 or 6 years. We've got some COVID babies on that team, Doug. We just can't get rid of.
Tennessee's never been to the Final Four, have they?
No. Did they go last year for the first time?
No, that was Bama.
That was Bama. That's right. So let's see. Tennessee, the Final Four. I'm going back to Ernie Griffith, Daryl Griffith, and that bunch. Let's see. In the Final Four, I don't want to tell us wrong. Jen Chavez may be on here.
Well, I can look it up real quick. Let me see. Tennessee basketball. I'm sure it'll tell me. I mean, Wiki will tell me. I mean, you don't want to ask.
As far as Elite Eight last year is as far as they ever went. They went to the Elite Eight also in 2010. So no, they haven't made the Final Four. And now Coach Barnes is very reminiscent to me, Doug, of another former Texas coach, Mac Brown, and that he seems to not do well, even though he's got massive resources. Because right now Tennessee's loaded, and they're rightfully number one. But I don't have any confidence whatsoever that Mac Brown is going to take Tennessee to the Final Four, man.
Mac Brown?
Not Mac Brown. That's what's wrong. I can't believe I said that. Coach Barnes, right? I can't believe that's how deep I get them mixed up because it's the same results. I mean, Coach Barnes had DJ Augustine and who's that guy in the NBA? It's the greatest thing ever. Kevin Durant, yeah, on the same team at Texas and went nowhere with him.
Well, real quick, while you got me thinking about it, since you brought up Mac Brown, how about UNC hiring Bill Belichick to take Mac Brown's place for the football program? Is that some shit, man?
Oh, I think it's fantastic.
I'm not excited. I don't think it's going to turn out any different than Mac Brown did.
Oh no, I think it is. Here's why. I think that he brought in a professional from the NFL who realizes this is now a semi-pro league to run his NIL, a true general manager, right? So do
you see him getting North Carolina further than they've ever been?
I see him getting further than they've been since they had Lawrence Taylor, right? And right. I think that he'll be able to buy enough players, and they'll want to play for Bill Belichick. It's obviously the man can coach defense, right? And he was talking about some advantages the other day. It really got me interested, Doug. So a lot of people don't know about Coach Belichick is he has a fascination with special teams. And he was a special teams coach as well.
Right.
And the way the gunners work in college football is different than the pros. And there's things that he thinks he can exploit in the kicking game for big explosive plays and turnovers and so on and stuff like that. And that's another thing that interests me about Belichick. He's going to be able to get staff in there that's going to be able to train players up. And I think his experience of running the NFL team and the camp and the turnover and all that will allow him to prepare his team fast. Like, for example, with Kentucky, one of our problems under Stoops is the team ain't ready when the year starts, right? For whatever reason, they're not ready to the third or fourth week. Well, it's too late by then. And you've just been crushed by everybody. Whereas Belichick is going to realize that you have to put a team on the field that's ready. He's going to buy the players they need, and the administration is hungry to be a success in it. and as they say, they're going to give him the resources.
I got you. What other games did you watch this weekend, Bob? I'm sitting here looking at scores.
Well, how about Iowa and Iowa State? Now, Iowa
Let's
State's
see.
number 3, and that game actually was Thursday, I believe, or Friday. Yeah, it was Thursday, but that's one I watched. And Iowa State's really looking strong, guys, and they're number 3 right now. And Iowa's a decent team.
They
And
beat Omaha today. I didn't even realize Omaha. There was a freaking basketball program from Omaha.
oh yeah, it's probably so little. It's probably like Bellarmine. But
I
teams
got
like
you.
that can go to the tournament and win. You know,
Yeah, you're right.
it can happen. I mean, we saw it was late with Sister Jean and Loyola here a few years ago. So stuff can happen. You know, but I was intrigued by Iowa State and Iowa, and even though it 89-80, it doesn't look uh, like it was that big a win. They actually at the end it was a little bit sloppy, and Iowa State had it well in hand. And they just Iowa State has some good players. They got a relatively solid roster. They recruited well and used the portal well. They're a team that's going to contend at the end. So the Big 12's got another thing. Well, speaking of the Big 12, I think we should throw a shout out to Timothy Bailey about his team at the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma State yesterday, I believe.
Yes, Oklahoma. But a lot of people say Oklahoma is overrated, and because but say Oklahoma's overrated because they haven't really played anybody, which is what happened last year. And then once they got into the Big 12 schedule, then they fell off and they weren't as highly ranked. But it's interesting. The reason I'm bringing this up is we're going to find out. And shout out to Ed Scrider. Oklahoma plays Michigan next Wednesday at 9:00 on national TV.
And Michigan's looking good. Am I right?
Oh yeah, the Oklahoma's ranked 13th. Michigan's is ranked 14th, and Michigan looks rejuvenated and strong and have up tempo. I'm interested in that game. It's at Michigan though.
So we don't have to bring up the number 2 team, right?
You talking about Auburn?
Yeah, Auburn just beat the fuck out of Ohio State yesterday. I don't know what Ohio State's doing these days, but
Auburn crushed them utterly, man. They're one of the best teams in the country, and really you got to say, and they got one of the best players in the country. He's right up there with Sears in Johnny Broome, and he can do it all, man. He can rebound, he can pass, he can score inside. He's got a little bit of a handle. He can shoot from outside. He might be the SEC Player of the Year. Hell, he had 20 points, 21 points, 20 rebounds, and 6 assists in only 26 minutes in that game. So so that's just outstanding. And they crushed Ohio State utterly, 91-53. Now, NIL has had a big transformation for college basketball too, Dave.
Oh, I bet.
So now coaches that are cheats, like Bruce Pearl, right, can cheat legally. They can just pay players openly. Yeah. So if you can actually coach and you can get the players, you can see what happened. Now all of a sudden, Alabama and Auburn and Tennessee are some of the best teams in the country. So that tells me that Alabama and Auburn have made a real commitment to college basketball.
Absolutely. And when do we get into some conference play, Bob?
Well, I mean, there's some games coming up as early as this week that are conference games, but there's still a few. Out of conference games, but and rivalry games and stuff like that happening. But let's see. So I think it's next week we have a couple conference games. Clemson, South Carolina, Tennessee, WSU should be in the next 2 weeks. I'm looking through right now. Where are you going? Okay, here. So for the Big East, I'm starting to see conference games the week of the 21st. Here's Marquette and Xavier, UConn and Butler. And then Duke and Georgia Tech. The ACC's getting into theirs. Purdue and Auburn, which is an out-of-conference game, but highly anticipated. So that Ohio State, Kentucky. So I'm seeing that conference schedule. Miss Memphis. Well, we're starting a little later. Some other teams, Gonzaga, UCLA, Florida Stetson. Oh, man. Hell, it looks like it won't be out till after the first of the year.
Nikki's Gators are their top 10 team as well.
Oh yeah, shout out to her, man. They're number 9. They had a big win too, just yesterday, and against Arizona State, who was kind of high. And that was a significant win. They beat them by almost 20 points, 83-66.
Damn, how many
And,
SEC schools do we have in the top 10?
in the top 10, hell, I think it's 4 or 5. So we got Tennessee at 1, Auburn at 2, Kentucky at 5, Alabama at 7, Florida at 9. So we got 5 in the top 10. And
Yep.
then
you got Oklahoma at 13.
Yes.
Texas A&M at 17. You got Ole Miss at 19. And Mississippi State at 25.
Shit. So I mean, look, that's 8, 9, 10, that's 9 teams in the top 25.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's why I believe that that our fans for Smacking Off the Podcast and follow the show. Now their teams are well represented. Back in the old days, you'd say, well, I don't know. I don't care. Kentucky's just winning the SEC. There's no reason really to watch it. Then you'd have bumps where Florida would win it for a little while or whatever it was. But now with this, right, with Alabama and Auburn and Tennessee all being great and lots of other SEC teams being good, Kentucky's looking great. To me, it's just a lot to follow, and just fucking keep rocking on, baby. Enjoy it. If you're an Alabama fan, your team's good. If you're an Auburn fan, your team's good. If you're a Tennessee fan, your team's good. Let's get the national championship. Let's hang it in that banner in the SEC arena, Doug.
All right, so the basketball season gets cranked back up this week, Tuesday. And I'm looking here over the schedule here. You've got here's a decent marquee game. You got number 9 Florida. I get it's just these wouldn't be tournaments, would they? This would probably be at Chapel Hill, right?
Right. They probably got a home and away series, which is good because UNC is one of the greatest teams of all time. They might be down a little bit this year. They were ranked, but they fell off. They had some tough losses in some of the big preseason tournaments, and but Florida's looking great, and then I'm really looking forward to that because we want as much controversy, as much excitement for our teams in Southeastern Conference as we can get. So Florida,
right, and you also got Clemson Danes Tigers have a chance to avenge their football loss to South Carolina this week on Tuesday at 6 p.m.
at South Carolina. Yes. So that's going to be a good game. And Clemson's solid. We've seen them beat the shorthanded Kentucky at home. UK tried to come back, but to their credit, Clemson held on to the end. And people probably forget quickly that Clemson had a big run last year in the NCAA tournament. And a lot of guys went pro or transferred or graduated, and they was able to reload. And which I find significant. So the coach is really good that he's able to put teams together quickly, and we'll see what happens. But you got to go chalk here. I think Clemson's going to beat South Carolina.
Yes, I know Dane's pulling for him. This is a ranked Clemson team. Dane's a little shaky on it. He said he never trusts Clemson when they're looking good in basketball. And I know exactly how he feels because I've been watching Alabama basketball my whole life.
Your whole life, Doug, and they just hadn't come across yet. Man, if they ever were, this is one of them years. Now, it's almost a shame there's so much competition in the conference. But, yeah. Hell, if 6 or 7 teams or even more make the tournament, they'll get their shot. And all you got to do then is win 6 games. Alabama, a hot Alabama can do that. Now, a game I find interesting she brought up Tuesday was George Mason and Duke. Now, Duke's played well, and they've got one of the best players in the country, Cooper Flagg. And they lost to UK, obviously, but still overall they're a great team. And for whatever reason, they've ranked them above UK. I don't see it, but it happened, right? So, but George Mason is a good team, and they've made deep tournament runs lately, and I expect them to be in the tournament again this year. And Duke, if they are well coached under Coach Shire, as they were under Coach Krzyzewski, then they should have no problems. But the truth is, George Mason loves that upsets. That's their gig. And if I were Duke, I would be worried about the upset, and I wouldn't slack none against George Mason.
All right, now here's a game you mentioned earlier, and you got the 13th ranked Sooners of Oklahoma going to Michigan to play the 14th ranked Wolverines, and that's Wednesday.
Yeah, that's a huge game.
That's a pretty. I mean, just it's a great marquee game. I mean, even in basketball, both of these are pretty good programs in basketball.
Oh yeah, they've got a big following too. Oklahoma's been good on and off for a long time. I mean, you can go all the way back to Tillman, and they just had players unbelievable. I mean, Kevin Sampson. I mean, it's for them to compete in the SEC. And I forgot they were an SEC team, so they're in the rankings too. And then so hell, Oklahoma. The problem they've had is they've looked great. The early season's been faded over the last few years. This is going to be their chance to prove it because Michigan's on the up. And if you can recruit at Michigan, you can take your team to Final Fours and even championships. So I think this is a great game for Oklahoma basketball at Michigan to show where they're at in the world. And this is their chance to show they really belong in the top 25.
Who do you like? You like Michigan at home, Bob?
I like Michigan at home in this game.
Yeah,
and
it's really hard to pick Oklahoma in this game. But if they go up there and beat Michigan, it's really going to turn some heads.
Oh yeah, see, there's a few other possible upsets that week. Yeah, but not on that level. So it's a chance for Oklahoma to really show themselves and to try to do something, man. And there's other games that have traditionally been upset alerts, such as Xavier UConn versus UConn on Wednesday, but they're at UConn, so it's not as likely, even though it's possible. And the same thing with Butler and Marquette. Both teams have a recent history of really warring against each other, and Marquette's one of the best teams in the country. They're at home, of which I expect them to win. But Butler's been known to upset them, so but Marquette's well coached. They've got a great team, big turnouts, but they can absorb a loss to Butler and still be in the top 10. But I don't think it's going to happen. Now, if we go back, I'm going to go back a little bit, and there was a game I was looking at earlier that I thought was interesting. Oh yeah, we were talking about Tennessee, who barely won at Illinois. Well, Illinois is better than people think they are. In a down Big Ten, they were at home. Tennessee, they played well enough to win, but overall, I think they got shook, man. Just like in football, they kind of got smacked in the mouth. They didn't think Illinois could hang, and in the end, they were able to get by desperation and win it. But a lot of people was watching that game and commenting online. There were all kind of threads where people were rooting for Illinois versus Tennessee.
Well, I was. I was.
Oh yeah, I was too. I didn't really come out and say it, but yes, and they. So I was hoping against that. So that's why I went back to that because I really. Oh yeah, and also last week Marquette lost to Dayton, so they are right for upsets, but they were at Dayton. And be honest with you, I think Butler is better than Dayton. So back to the upset alert for Marquette. There's teams like that every now and then can have a run where they lose 2 or 3 games in a row. I hope that ain't the case. But Butler and Marquette have a little interpersonal rivalries. I think that Butler has a chance that game.
Also on the same day, and I don't know anything about North Dakota basketball whatsoever. Alabama goes to North Dakota.
Well, you got to applaud Alabama for going to a small school like that and then giving them a chance to get a paycheck. But I think Alabama's going to crush them utterly bad. I think it's going to be ugly. It's going to look like the Harlem Globetrotters up there.
All right, let's see here. I seen something here that blew me away a while ago. Oh yeah, North Florida. Who the hell is North Florida? Do you have any clue? Where do these teams come from?
Them before. I've heard of them before, but I have no idea who do we got playing them.
That's coming up Saturday. They are going to Gainesville to play the Gators.
Oh, well.
So like every time I look, it never fails. Every time I look through basketball scores, I discover a new school that I never knew
Oh,
existed.
that's because there's so many more of them in Division One than there is in college. What is it, like
What
132?
happened? So over time, do new ones just kind of pop in there that never played basketball before?
Well, the ones that weren't Division One, like we mentioned Bellarmine and Northern Kentucky's another one where they joined the NCAA Division One ranks, and also some of these just like in football, some of the AA teams and their conferences are now D1. But yes, what it is, it's a whole lot cheaper to run a college basketball program than it is a college football program.
Oh,
Especially,
absolutely.
yes, if you're a parochial school like Creighton, you can put all of your chips in that basket and have success.
All right, and you mentioned this one earlier, and this is a Saturday game. This is your number 2 Auburn Tigers hosting the number 11 Purdue Boilermakers.
Well, yeah, Purdue did great last year, man. I mean, they made a liar out of me and won it. I didn't think they had it, but they were really good, and but they ended up losing it to at the end. But hey, Purdue is great this year, but I think Auburn's going to smoke them, man. I think Coach Pearl's a better coach than Coach Painter. I think everything hit the right way for Purdue last year in terms of talent, scheduling, and he coached the team to a point with his superior talent. But I think Coach Pearl's a better coach. He has more talent. He has Johnny Broom. I think that Purdue, Auburn's going to smoke Purdue. But hats off to Auburn for going to. I mean, hats off to Purdue for going to Auburn, though, Doug.
Yeah, true. And I think Bama. I think one of Bama's losses is to Purdue.
Yeah, so Purdue's very good. I just believe that at home Auburn is better. And the win you're thinking about, I think happened in one of the preseason tournaments like Maui or one of those. And I think that if they played again, I'd go with Alabama in that one. And I think the posters also think it because if you look at the rankings. And Purdue, here, let's do a little bit deeper dive on them. I got something up here. And they Purdue so far. Let's see. NCAA tournament. UConn smoked them. We just talked about that. Northern Kentucky. They beat Northern Kentucky, a good team, by 22. They beat Alabama by 9 at home, right? Early in the season. So even though it was a good win for Purdue, I don't know how much stock I take in that. Marquette beat them by 18 the next game, November 19th. They crushed Marshall. They had a decent win against NC State. They barely beat Ole Miss. Penn State beat Purdue, by the way. Shout out to Chris Story. And Texas A&M beat Penn State. But Purdue's beating Maryland. I don't know, man. I just don't think I think they're a little overrated. And Auburn's going to be tough at home with the talent they got. I think that Auburn's going to stomp them, Doug.
Border rival for your Wildcats coming up this weekend when they host Ohio State Buckeyes.
You know, the Big Ten has a problem in the world of basketball. And the problem is, until Michigan recently changed coaches, and this even still remains to be seen, even though they are fairly up-tempo, is that Ohio State wants to play possession basketball, which actually is a great way to win in the NCAA tournament. If your team is, if you got people you can count on your team on every possession. But at this point of the year, Ohio State's ready to face a team that their plotting style is going to get smoked by. Kentucky's going to run them up and down the floor. And Doug, I got to talk about Kentucky's roster here real quick. So it's not that the individuals are there. Butler's great. We talked about Chrissa. And there's just so many great players on the team. But it's the way he put. There was no roster at Kentucky the day Mark Pope took over. You knew that, right?
No.
So there was no roster at UK the day that Coach Pope was hired.
Wow.
He
So
completely
everything here he built.
Everything there he built. And they preseason picked Kentucky to be number 24. Well, he put that team together and he got them cohesive and gelling in their first year together, even though there are some veterans from other teams on there that played in the tournament, like Butler. But, I mean, he got these guys together and they're an exciting brand of basketball. They're up and down the court. It looks like the ABA in the 70s. And my hat's off to Coach Pope for getting a team together that quickly that was actually good, that's already outperforming expectations. And since we've beat Duke this year, that's a huge deal for me. So, fuck Duke.
So this is, I mean, Kentucky basketball had to be making your stomach turn here in the last few years, because it was the same thing every time. I mean, they start out real slow, they end up looking pretty good, and then they looking like, hey, even last year for a while it was like, wow, this team may really do something, and then they get in the tournament and they do the same shit that Calipari always did.
The coaching just wasn't good, man. I mean, it wasn't. Those guys never looked like they were having fun out there. But,
no intensity.
No intensity. Although they played intense at times, but they looked like they were scared to make a mistake. Right. And then you had the issues of there was no out of bound play. There's no end of the game play, right? There's no specific plays or strategies you come up for specific situations in the game. It's all about talent and the so-called dribble drive. And you know what it amounted to in every game that was close was a guy would go down to on the offensive end of the court, pound the basketball until the time ran out, and then throw up, either take it to the hole and throw it up over two guys 7 foot tall, or try to take a three over three guys on the perimeter. So there was no strategy whatsoever. He never ran an out of bounds play. He didn't have an end of game play. I mean, it was awful, Doug, watching that much talent go to waste. The talent he recruited, and you couldn't even. I mean, we had losses under Coach Perry in the NCAA tournament that were unprecedented. No, just unbelievable, man. I could go on and on about it, man. But
I'm excited for you, Bob, because I know that I know what you've endured here in the last few years, and I know Calipari had his moment, but it didn't look like it didn't look like that was coming back, did it?
No, and in 2012. Hell, he had a team that was on the level of talent of the Fab Five and the '82 North Carolina team with Michael Jordan and James Worthy. I mean, that's why they won the championship in 2012. That team was loaded beyond belief. Every one of them players is in the NBA and all NBA. It's just fucking unbelievable.
Did he recruit that team?
Yeah, he recruited the 2012 team, but he came in 2009.
Okay.
And but the 2012 team was unbelievable because of the talent. I mean, he had Anthony Davis. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so they won a championship. That's great. We love Cal for having won a championship in Kentucky. But then he got enamored with his own legend, right? And I won the national championship. I'll do it how I want. He was salty with the sports writers and the fans. He wouldn't own up to the ignominious defeats that we had, of which I put a video from one of the places they lost to under Calipari. I don't know if you remember when I met Kyle Gullick in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I do.
And then
y'all put some pictures out. I remember that.
Oh yeah, then we had we were standing in front of that little tiny arena where that team beat UK. I mean, my God. I mean, they should have even Smith beaten UK, and I don't think that's going to happen again. And the kind of losses we're going to have this year are going to be against teams that's going to contend for national championships.
All right, so we've already talked about what's coming up. We're going to see everybody this Thursday. We've got a playoff. We got a playoff segment to talk college football playoff, which is our first time of doing this with the expanded playoff. Anyway,
I'm excited, Doug. I think it's the greatest thing ever. I mean, there's so much.
I mean, I'm loving it, but it really puts the bowl games in perspective. I mean, really, the bowl games are all turds, in my opinion. There's really, I think they need to put together some more tournaments or something, even if they're not for the national championship. These bowl games, I don't know. They just they don't seem worth it at this point.
Well, I'm going to tell you how to fix that in 2 easy moves, Doug. So this is what it takes to save the bowls. And I'm doing this in elegy of Marshall, who won their fucking conference championship and can't go to a bowl because the whole fucking team transferred when the coach quit them or got hired away by somebody else. So here's what you got to do if you want to save these bowls. You got to close the transfer portal until after the bowls and not allow people to talk to coaches until after the bowls.
Hey, you could make it to where if they don't play in the bowl game, they're not eligible for the transfer portal afterwards.
Oh, I would go for that one too. I would add that one on top of it. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, look at this cost of Marshall, man.
Yeah, and I knew they had pulled out, Bob, and I was meaning to ask you that when we come on the show. I didn't know why they had pulled out. I didn't realize that everybody had transferred out. Wow, that's fucked up.
25 players the first day that he got hired at Southern Miss. And to me, I don't even understand it. No, Coach Huff does have some Southern Miss roots, but Southern Miss isn't a better program than Marshall. As a matter of fact, Marshall was in that conference with them at one time and beat them. So I don't understand whatsoever why that he would. I don't know. There must have been big money involved with the players to go with him, but there might have been culture at Marshall that we don't know about. And if so, I'm going to be optimistic and say it's time to clean house. But they fucked Marshall. A little school like that needs its bowl money, man, and that would have helped them a lot. And if he'd had enough class to tell them guys you got to wait till after the bowl game, then he could have helped the program to survive him being gone. You know that?
Yeah, it's that's fucked up, man. I think that's it's ironic that it happened to Marshall, the team that went down in a plane crash in the 70s, and literally had no football team for 2 or 3 seasons. Am I correct?
Oh yeah, it took him several years to build a program back again, and it took them 10 or 15 years to be competitive. But they eventually redeemed themselves in the 80s and had, in my opinion, had a great program ever since then. And just like in 1973, until their eventual NCAA national championship in '86, they're going to rise like a phoenix from the ashes. They're going to do the best they can with NIL and the talent they can get. And I think they're going to get a decent coach because Marshall is the greatest small school in America, and they're going to come back better before. And I hope they get a chance to play Coach Huff and beat him.
I agree, Bob. All right, so we will see everybody, and we'll have a livelier crowd on here on Thursday night talking about the first round of the playoffs. And we're really looking forward to that. Got some great games. We got SMU going to Penn State. We've got Ohio State and Tennessee. Go Buckeyes. We've got who else do we got, Bob? Well, Notre Dame and Indiana.
Notre Dame and Indiana. I can't wait for that game. That's a big deal to me.
Texas and Clemson.
Texas and Clemson. I mean, Clemson might fuck around and win that game.
Could be. Now, Arizona State got a bye, so one of these matchups that we talked about will advance to play Arizona State. So,
hell yeah. And I'm excited to talk about it. And I got to put out one more thing. Like and share the show. Subscribe so that you always get news from Smacking Off the Podcast. And the SEC is up, guys. College basketball is big. The tournament's the greatest thing ever. So let's follow college basketball, guys. Whether you're an SEC fan, whether you're a Big East fan, ACC, Big 12, whatever you got, there's plenty of fun, excitement. Keep on the show and support the show, and we'll keep rocking you every day.
All right, Bob. We'll see everybody on Thursday.
Sounds awesome, dude.
Later.
Dr. Balls is a presentation of Smacking Off the Podcast.